We want to thank our sponsor before we get rolling. We got great sponsors, VoiceOver Extra, Vorg, VoiceOver Collective, and Nava, who have stood with us from the very beginning. We thank you guys for your support. We appreciate you being partners with us and trusting us with your reputation and vice versa. So let's go ahead and hand things off. I know Deb has a really hot topic. Now, I want to throw a disclaimer out. We got a topic we're going to discuss in length a little bit here today. I've been addressed with this lately quite a bit over the last, I would say, 60 to 90 days. I've had several of my students and peers bring this conversation up. And Deb has, and Dawn has, and I know Stacy as well, and I think even Mike mentioned it. And so this is something that I think we are running into across the industry in general. So we are not by any means slandering or trying to be bashing or anything towards anybody that's out there that considers themselves an industry coach, a trainer, a mentor, what have you, because if not, we sure wouldn't be offering up a champion award thing. But we want you to know that this is a discussion that probably is necessary. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Deb Monroe, who's going to launch us into this can of worms.
I get to be the controversy. I love it. I love it. It's true. We're not here to actually name anyone even. It's not about naming stuff. What I see, I've been in this industry a long time, over 30 years. Some of my colleagues, 40 and 50 years. It's a long time, and that's really the birthing of the industry. And so we've been apart from the very beginning, myself, the online world, my colleagues, the in-person world. And we've seen the changes. We've seen all the changes from the small niche market that it once was to now this global phenomenon that everybody and their dogs seem to now suddenly know about. Before, no one even knew what a voice actor was. Now it's becoming a bit more of a household name. And I really think not just COVID itself, but because of COVID, I think it really launched an introduction into our world. Celebrities who were not working during COVID because there was no films being done, there was no animations being done, barely. They were still in some work, so they were working probably a little bit. But voice actors stood the test of time. And so it became a little bit more of I want to do that. And a lot of people think, I have a voice. I can be a voice actor. I have a voice. And that's the naivety of this, is thinking that it just takes a voice, and it's just really not what it is.
Right.
What we're going to talk about today is the saturation of the market. There's a saturation going on in many different aspects. It once was where an agent had their roster, and their roster was very much local to their city. And now we see it now. There's global agents, there's online agents, there's in-person agents. So we have a saturation of agencies. We have a saturation of how many talents are out there trying to find the jobs now. What used to be hundreds, if not maybe thousands, period, all over the world, is now become millions. And that's all over the world globally. So when you have not only a saturated talent pool, a saturated agent pool, we also are seeing, and we saw this early many years ago, but it's just getting more and more, we have a very saturated coaching market. And that must make it very hard for you guys that are trying to find your way, whether you're new, whether you are working. If you're a working pro, you probably already have a good idea of some of the names that most people have used in the past. Does that mean they're the best coach? Not necessarily, to be honest. I've worked with some big names, and I'm sorry, I didn't find that to be the best coaching I got. I really didn't. I've worked with some names that aren't as big, and I enjoyed the coaching very much. I think that everybody has some experience to bring into the table, but I think it's super important that we educate how to filter through the mess, because there's a big mess. There's not only a saturation of coaches, there's a saturation of conventions, there's a saturation of events, myself included. We're doing a VO retreat event, and that's part of this saturated market. Our event's a little different, but still, when you've got all these events to choose from, how on earth do you make that decision? You can't attend them all as much as you'd like to. What you need to focus on is growing your business. You need to get more voice work so that you can afford all the stuff that we have.
And let me jump for a second.
Go ahead, of course.
Because I want you to take over, but keep going. But Sandy Thomas of Thomas Voice Imaging, who's one of our contributors here, The Truth of VO, I think is what his feature is here, if I remember right. He has a really good feature that he does on his show on the 24/7 broadcast, and that's exactly what he talks about. He talks about the saturation and the of events, and how the marketplace has there's dozens and dozens of events now. So he talks about the quality versus quantity of events. So just with that food for thought, go ahead and
Yeah, of
carry
course.
on.
You, when I've said this before, but when I went to my very first voice convention, I finally felt normal for the first time in my life. And as funny as that sounds, it's genuinely true. It was the first time that I didn't have to be embarrassed to scream out loud for no reason, to break off into an accent. I wasn't in a household environment that it was normal to do such a thing. And so what I love about conventions, for example, is the camaraderie, being able to be around other talent that you cannot beat that. Again, as I said before, go to a dentist convention, you're not going to get the same energy, seriously.
Right.
And so we get a real need from being around each other because we feed each other.